It's a brand new day full of possibilities and promises. Good morning and welcome to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria, and Enterprise Television. It is. I am Henry Igwebike. I am so thrilled to be here with you to kickstart your morning. Join us for a brand of news and, of course, a blend of news analysis so you can get your day started just like we equally have started ours here. You can always join us and have a say in what we say by logging on to our site at enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. And with me today in the studios to do justice to all that we have interestingly from our newspaper headlines and, of course, going to our main conversation today is Olusegun Kowade, a public affairs analyst, and the barrister Evans Ufeli, the barrister at law and the public affairs analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to a fresh new week.
Yeah, it's a fresh week that we are putting us under intense pressure as a nation, but we keep looking at you. At least you are giving us a little light to start the day, but it's really not smiling.
It's really not smiling on Nigerians.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what we have on our major headlines today, coming from our newspapers, and we're kicking off with the Nation newspaper for today. The big story here, it says petrol scarcity brings back queues to Lagos, Abuja, and other cities. And we have some riders here. NNPC blames on distribution. And of course, marketers raise policies, raise the prices to between 1,000 and so. And on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have lobbying for IG Egbetokun's seat holds up, while food prices are dropping by farmers and traders. Interestingly, you can only get such good news, even if it is not that so good from the Nation newspaper. But let's get into this particular story here on the petrol scarcity, which of course affects everyone. And we have it from the Nation newspaper that the NNPCL regrets the tightness in fuel supply witnessed in some parts of Lagos and the FCT, which is as a result of distribution challenges. And that's coming from Olufemi, a spokesman to the NNPCL. He urged motorists to shun panic buying as it works around the clock with relevant stakeholders to restore a normalcy. Sheson, this is a perennial issue. It's been there for decades. I can remember vividly as young lads, we queued buying kerosene for our parents. Right now, as adults, we're still queuing buying fuel for our cars. Isn't this distasteful?
Not distasteful. We only say we've seen it happen. It's happening and it will continue to happen because of the lack of commitment and the will on the part of our leaders. Practically this morning, I think I put a call through to the studio that I won't be coming because I traveled and I came in yesterday. I bought the fuel at Ibadan at the rate of 970.
970.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so on the high side. I can get it at NNPCA in Lagos of 568, possibly maybe those other stations that I buy from for 620. But by the time you put 620 to 950, that's a difference of over 300 naira. So if I'm buying 20 liters, that's mean I'm adding additional 6,000. Pardon me, I'm an accountant. And,
you like
numbers? We don't joke with figures.
Yeah.
Just for me to get in this morning and looked around, dropped my wife, I was to go and queue for fuel. And most of the major filling stations are not even selling. The ones that are selling, I saw the mobile at Agide, very long queue. What are we addressing? The spokesman coming to tell us logistics. One thing we have said before now, and will continue to happen, is even when people fail, those days when we're in school, you repeat class. That's what they are practicing for us. People are failing and we are celebrating. I don't know how a spokesman will be coming to tell us what we've been experiencing in the last 6 months. I can say practically since the advent of this administration, every month is been fuel crisis. If it is not logistics, it will be this. And they will tell you, don't do panic buying. I'm not doing panic buying. It's to even fuel my car to move on a normal day that I'm out to do. Everybody does that either on Sunday or you do that Monday morning. On your way out, you are not getting it. So you are frustrating the productive. And come to think about it, it's not only for our vehicles that we use this petrol for. Some use it for work. So you can, and most filling stations will not even send to you in the jerry can because they feel that you want to go and resell. So you can see the impact of the failure of the government. And Mr. President is the Minister of Petroleum, NNPCL. That man, I don't know. He failed us 8 years during Buhari. He's President Buhari. He's coming in again where I feel there is more to this thing that they are not telling with the masses. But we can tell you, they keep telling us exercise patient, exercise patient. This that has happened now will linger for the next few days. And the impact of this on businesses, I can imagine a lot of people that will trek to work this morning. You can imagine people will blame the transporters that they've hiked the price. But I'm a businessman. It's what you buy, you sell. So if I buy fuel for 950 per liter and I'm taking that place for 200 naira, you expect me to still carry it 200 naira. It's not visible. So when people come to say businesses, they are exploiting us, it's because you are not a businessman. Maybe they are salary earner. Because a businessman will definitely give what he has actually bought. What he will use 10,000 naira to buy, maybe 50 liters. He's not using it to buy 30 liters. The 50 liters is supposed to cover him for all day, but now he's going to work for half day because he's only gotten 30 liters. So he must share the burden on the people that he's going to carry. Same is applicable for somebody who is, let me go as low as barbing salon, who is buying fuel at exorbitant price. So if you are barbing for 300 naira and there is no light, you are going to now buy for like as small as 500, 600 naira. Exactly. So these are things I feel, but one thing I know is that this that is happening, no else will roll. We are used to that, and that's why everybody feel like just do whatever you like. Nothing will happen.
Now, talking about no heads will rule, the president is the minister of petroleum resources. Of course, we still have Minister for State of Petroleum, and so I'm talking about heads ruling. This is another case of having the president relieve himself of that position and possibly give it to someone else that could manage it. Don't you think so?
Well, that is if you have a president that have the interests of the citizens at heart. This president recently, when Nigerians assembled to protest and made demands and tabled that demand before him, he came to deliver a speech and didn't talk about any of the demands. Is that the same president that you want to address the problems of the masses? You see, they have made up their mind as to what they want to do. And what is that? They have made up their mind that what they will do is to continue to lead in darkness. Okay? It does not matter what is wrong with you as a citizen. Your solution does not count. Your perspective as to what governance should be about means nothing to them. So what they know is that those errors that they have enacted at the beginning of this administration, those are the same errors they intend to reenact over and over again. Okay. Now, this man was the head of NNPC. When NNPC had that transition to NNPCL, he still remained the head. What exactly is it that they are not telling us about? Not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago or about 4 weeks ago, we're told that it was because it rained 10 hours in Lagos. And as a result of that, the sister ships, the sister vessel could not move to meet the mother vessel because of the way they transmit crude. Now, it has not rained for 1 month now. We are back to scarcity again. So this time now, what is the cause of this one? Is it flood? Or is it, what exactly is the cause of this?
Well, they actually mentioned that they actually mentioned that the hashtag end bad governance equally contributed to the time.
Okay,
yes.
Well, that's what, okay, that's the reason now.
The other one is rain. This one is because there is scarcity of rain. Because so the ship could not move.
The ship could not move because there's scarcity of rain. Yeah. So you see, when they come out to give you reasons why they are not able to govern, the citizens just lay back. I mean, if you are not able to govern, the citizens should be able to make an attempt to ask the person who is leading to go. First, one of the recommendations is that the head of the NNPC should leave because he has been there for too long. He's been caught up by the law of diminishing return. Inertia. He's just there. And one of the things I hate in my life is when people are just there. You are not going forward. Because I like forward movement. I cannot stay in one place. Forward movement. So they should be able to innovate. If it's logistics, what are the logistical issues? Outline them. How do you address them? And problem solving. Identify the problem. You know that Nigeria will have a number of liters of fuel that we consume every day. You have that record. Okay? Now, you know that if you don't have in your reservoir for 1 week, if you have nothing in your reservoir for 1 week, it means that what we consume in a day is going to cut up with what you have or what you don't have. So you need to make adequate preparation to ensure that you have it rolling, because the population is large. Okay? And the consumption for fuel is high because the alternatives are quite minimal. You use it for generator to power your house, to pump water, to do everything. Government have failed in all those areas, so you have to use fuel to do it yourself. Now, that is the reason they should focus more on these logistical issues. You understand? And ultimately, the problem, the bigger elephant in the room is the lack of the workings of the refineries. You see, because it takes a while to ship in, to get a vessel to move from wherever the thing is coming from to this place. It takes a while. And while the vessel is on the high sea, you are consuming fuel here. You are consuming PMS. Yeah, what you have. So if anything happens to the vessel on the high sea, it means there's going to be a scarcity. Just like the rain. Now, even when it was already within our shores, we could not pull it out for public use. So why can't we make our refineries to work? I mean, that one is the big elephant in the room. Each time you say make our refineries to work, people will come with different kind of theories and definition of why the thing will not work.
Well, they promised the Port Harcourt refinery would work by the end of this month.
This year, how many times have they said? How many times have they said that?
That is the sixth time.
That's about the sixth time they're saying this year that Port Harcourt refinery will work. You understand? The truth is that there are people who don't want these things to work because they benefit from the scarcity. As it is now, there are a lot of people cashing out while Nigerians are suffering. So we have people who have that kind of mentality in our mix. Why can't we go after them?
And unfortunately, what we're not even talking about here, and of course the media is not making narrative about them, is the man-hour lost. When you have someone queuing for close to 3 hours, this is one person that should have been busy doing some other thing. We have not even calculated man-hour lost in all of this and try to see how that affects our economy. Mr. Sheson, do you have any numbers, if you can, to that, and
you see
how that affects our economy?
You see, I can tell you, I think 2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to be at a particular station for analysis in the morning. So I saw the queue. It was around 8. So I was going there around past 7, like 7:02. I got to that filling station and I queue, and I'm like, let me just see if I can get the fuel here. I had to call that station at 8 to say, please, I can't make it down. So another person covered up the bit, and I didn't leave that station until 10:33 that particular morning. That did not only affected my day, it collapsed the day completely. Because there were meetings that were scheduled, and I look at the number of hours I've spent, so I was not ready to pull out. So I was actually waiting to make sure that this fuel I get. The meeting I had for that morning for around 9:30, I missed it. I had to reschedule that particular meeting also. So when you put figures to all those things, we are talking of billions, even trillions that we are losing on a daily basis. And you see, when this is happening in Lagos and Abuja, you can't talk of the likes of Osun, talk of Enugu, talk of Akure. When you are buying fuel here at 600, those areas they buy as high as 1,000. And that's what we've always been saying, because they will tell you the logistics to move those things here. You see, until we are serious about punishing people for wrongdoing, we are going nowhere. That's just the truth. This will come. The man has come this morning. Their speechwriter They've written something for them to come and read to us, and they've said it's logistics. Define the problem of logistics. In those days in accounting, there is something is a procurement that we have. You have your lead time of when something will come. You have your reorder level. You know the base. You know, we've been asking how many liters of fuel do we consume on daily basis for effective planning. No answer to some of those things. So you see, what I before now, I feel things can get better, but day by day, with the failures that before us, businesses are crippling. A lot of people are losing their job, and what that actually turned out to be is that you send them back to the road and they'll become the security threat. I've seen a lot of people that in the last few weeks they've actually retrenched them out of what they were doing. They don't have any other business they are doing. If after 1 month they don't get anything to engage themselves with, what do you expect them to be?
Very true. All right. Of course, the NNPCL had promised that possibly by end of Wednesday, that all the issues that we have must have trickled down. But let's see how that works. But let's go to the Punch newspaper for today. The big story here says food crisis may worsen as flood hits 10 states. And the writer here says that farmers have grown as a flood ravaged farmlands in Sokoto, Kano, KB, and 7 other states. On the top strip of the same newspaper, we have a presidential jet Abuja to consult federal government as Utomi tackles monsoon. Federal government eyes $2 billion from local dollar bond sales. Now let's take a look at two important stories here. Food crisis, of course, it still boils down to the same old thing. If there ain't petrol to help farmers take their produce from the farm to the marketplace, of course it has its effect on food crisis in Nigeria. But added to it now is the flood that we have in 10 different states. How will this impact on food security in Nigeria, Mr. Vansu?
Yes, the flood we have is largely in the north, and the north contributes over 60% of the food production in Nigeria. The southern part of the country produce as much as they can consume internally, but the north outproduce the south in terms of what they can consume and what they can sell off. You understand? Remember, the land mass in the north is more. It has not been raining in the south for over 1 month, but it's been raining heavy in the north. Okay, so it's just some geographical complications that we can
blame that on climate change.
No, well, I wouldn't know, except I have the scientific understanding or report from experts. Okay, so now in that note, we're talking about the cost of fuel there is higher than the cost of fuel here, because is the Lagos port that you bring it through. There's no other port that's functional. There's no port in the north. Okay, so and we truck it. We truck the fuel from here down there. We're not using pipeline to move it, unlike we did before, where if it lands today in 4-5 hours, it will be all over the country. Then you can sell a uniform price. Okay, but now you cannot sell at that rate. So if you are going to fuel a 911, for example, to move produce from the north to this place, it's going to be costlier to move from the north to this place than to move from here to the north, whatever it is. Okay, so when you add the cost of that, then you add the cost of insurgency that will, that will, because these people that are producing now in the north are people who have paid Boko Haram to be able to access their farms. You understand? And why they are planting and why they harvest. Okay. Now, when you factor that in, then you factor in the cost of repairs of this heavy duty because of the bad roads, heavy duty material and all that, and the risk involved. So by the time it gets to the south, that's why people are complaining that why are they counting pepper now? They have to count it. Now why are they slicing yam? Tuber of yam will slice it to sell. Why won't they slice it? They will slice it because it's a hopeless situation. Okay, it's a hopeless situation, and then the citizens are not financially empowered. They are largely disempowered. People are purchasing power is low, it's weak. You understand? So at the end of the day, what you have is that is why, if you have to say subsidy is gone, you have to count the costs. It's not enough to just make a policy. You count the cost of your policy. It's like the person that was mocked in the Holy Writ, that wanted to build a house, he didn't count the costs. And he started it to a point and left it off, could not complete it. And people came and started mocking at him. Because that's exactly what they're doing. You don't count the costs of what you want to do. You embark on it and you took everybody and hang them somewhere. So we are supposed to ensure that our refineries work. You see the solution? The solution to a strangulated economy is to localize production. Minimize what you import. If possible, import only what cannot be found in your country.
Very well said.
These are the policies of some Singapore and the rest of the It's only what cannot grow in their country that they import. Anything that can grow in their country, they will invest in it. They will water it. They will invest in it and ensure that it grows to a point. Here we are sitting on crude everywhere. Even in this area where we are. The reason the water is not good, we are sitting on iron and crude. You understand? Then we have it in abundance. We cannot refine it. We cannot produce it. So how are you going to have a stable economy? Our GDP is not supposed to. It's not supposed to be what you have. What you have, even though it's not fully captured because the informal sector is not there. You see, the whole of Africa, the 52 countries in Africa, they are supposed to rely on Nigeria. The 52 countries in Africa is supposed to be our market, but unfortunately, we are not able to manage our economy to attract that investment.
Yes, very, very true, Mr. Chesson. A parting word there, accounting the cost. When the president is saying he's not would not go back on subsidy, on reintroducing a subsidy, which of course is the issue and the avalanche that we are facing now. How do you think we can solve this issue? And do you think the president actually understands the gravity of what he has created or what his policies had created?
Yeah, you understand the policy. He decided to go the route at which he is. He's a man that is resolute. When he says something, he wants to follow it through. Don't forget, before he even became president, he said if he had his way, he would change the national anthem. Without consultation, that was done. So this is resolute about it. I think what we should be yearning for, like Barrister said, is to be asking for the functionality of the refinery. Let's domesticate the things that we are. The other aspect I want to say, that we have crisis in the north. Our southern governors, I think I will attribute that they don't have what it takes to capitalize. Look at the vast land that we have in the southwest. That's what the northerners are actually exploring. We have fertile land here, move between Lagos and Ibadan. Those vast land are there, go between Lagos and Abuja. Go to even the east, every of those areas. Why can't we start on our own, doing what the northerners are doing and growing the food, not only to satisfy ourselves, but to sell out? The lands are there. How much are we investing in mechanized farming in the south here as compared to what they are doing in the north?
There's no investment in mechanized farming in the south.
So, but you are saying always relying on the north. It should be a competition, if you ask me. The northerners will put them on their toes because they consider the southern part as where they sell their produce. So when that person start producing on his own, it gives you, and we can be able to now export to other countries and possibly generate foreign exchange to augment what we have. But we have vast land. Even if Lagos decides to start doing their own agricultural produce here, we have land that we can use for that. It shouldn't be Ogun State. There should be collaboration between the southern parts in such a way that we can explore those vast land. I always have this idea when I travel to Israel there. I ask myself, how are these guys doing it? They did irrigation. Their land is so sandy. They don't have all this good land to plant some of those things, but there were irrigation. Fantastic food, those stuff that they're doing. But here, we would rather rely on petroleum and the FAC allocation rather than engaging people. I will say this, there are some of those countries you go to, they will bring some of the people that they are actually put in the prison to actually be used to do some of this work. So when you use them to do that, you're actually engaging them to make money for yourself and bring productivity to vast land, invest in it. Let's see, when you take food out of anything, my tribe will tell you, when you eat, you think right, you'll be more creative. If you are creative and you are hungry, that thing will die inside of you, because it is the food that you'll be thinking and be doing, and that's why people are easily bought over. So I want a situation where the southern leaders, the southern governors, we explore this opportunity to say, okay, when there are crises, we have the land, we have all those things. Let's invest in agriculture and feed our people. You know, the last time I was in Israel, people go and eat free food. Free. I entered the place and I'm like, no, they said, no, this is a day, this canteen is free. You enter, you can say, free food here. In fact, if they do that here, we'll try and carry on. Because we don't even have enough to eat. And it's because they have lands where they plant and they make use of those things, which I think the southern governors should start exploring, as always, relying on the north, on the north, on the north. We have the same vast land. I want to believe a lot of land that people are not building and nothing is happening there. You can drop a grain of corn anywhere in this area where we are, and let somebody be watering it. In the next few weeks, start having those things there. Why can't we just make use of the God's blessing that we have in the south to satisfy our people? Food must be taken care of. It is when we eat well, we can think well, and we can live healthier, because it's very, very fundamental.
Very, very so fundamental. The land is there, the harvest is rich, but unfortunately we don't have enough policies to galvanize this and make it work for us. But that is the sad reality we've seen ourselves today, and have found ourselves in Nigeria. I'd love to say thank you to Vice Vance Ofele for being part of our show today.
My pleasure.
Mr. Sheson, thank you as always for making
Thank you very much for having me
of our show today. Now let's go to our main conversation. But when we return, a Serap threatens to sue Senate President Reps a speaker over running cost of federal lawmakers. That in a beat. Please don't go anywhere.